I'm Nate Eaton in the EastIdahoNews.com newsroom, chatting today with Richard Ostler. You might remember him. We spoke, a year or two ago now, when you came up to Idaho to give a presentation in Rexburg, dealing with LGBTQ issues in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And Richard, you've now written a book called Listen, Love, and Learn. Tell us about it. There it is.
Yes, this is a book I wrote. I'm an active Latter-day Saint and was a former YSA bishop, and just had gay men, a couple of them in my ward, and just felt impressed to listen to them to develop better empathy and better ministering skills. And that led over time to talk about how to be a great Latter-day Saint and support our LGBTQ members. And that led to writing this book. It's called Listen, Learn, and Love, as Nate said, Embracing LGBTQ Latter-day Saints. The foreword is by Steve Young. It's on the shelves of Deseret Book. It's at Amazon and Siegel, and it's really meant to bring us together as the same human family. A lot of the stories in here are from LGBTQ Latter-day Saints and parents that have LGBTQ children, and those two groups know this space well. And my goal is to amplify their stories so that more listeners can understand the road they walk and develop better skills to lift their burdens and not add to their burdens, Nate, with uninformed opinions. I certainly added to the burden of LGBTQ Latter-day Saints, and that's partly why I'm doing this book, is sort of penance for the mistakes I've made and the things that I didn't understand.
What would you say is one of the major things you didn't understand, or that maybe members of the church don't quite understand?
I think I'm 59, so I've been, aware of this issue for a long time. Perhaps the first thing was just this is a choice, that someone chooses to be gay or transgender, or that Satan has deceived them into being this way. And after meeting with hundreds of LGBTQ people and giving priesthood blessings, I just think that everybody's created the way they're meant to be created, and no one chose to be gay. That's a brutal path. Why would anybody choose that? The LDS Church doesn't teach that. They do not teach that this is a choice or something that can be taken away. That's probably the second thing, Nate, is the idea that somehow someone has done something to become LGBTQ and then can undo that and become straight. And that just puts the burden back on them. I've never met with anybody that's been able to, through the atonement of Jesus Christ, for example, lift this from them and be able to become straight. Just like I have blue eyes, I can't use the atonement to have blue eyes. That's just the way God created me. So that's another thought that comes to mind, Nate, is I always saw LGBTQ people as a different group of people. But it wasn't until I priesthood responsibility for an LGBTQ person that I saw them as our own people. Not this outside group of people that posed a threat. We need to learn to talk about them in the context of our family, our faith community, because if we don't look at it that way, add to their burdens.
Yeah, you kind of became aware, I guess, or had your eyes opened when you were a bishop, and that was several years ago. I imagine the floodgates have kind of opened as far as LGBTQ members contacting you. I mean, how often are you getting messages, and what are these people asking you for? Do they just want an ear to hear them? I meet with LGBTQ people and their parents and local leaders that want to talk about this, maybe 20 to 30 hours a week. I'm a small business owner, and that gives me the flexibility to sort of be in this space. And it's just a variety of things. LGBTQ people just want to be heard. They want someone safe to be able to share their story. And we're developing better skills to do that as a faith community. And that's one of the purposes of the book, is that so people feel safe talking to parents, to bishops, about this part of them, and not be told things that are hurtful to them or harmful to them. So they're guarded, and they need safe people. And I've obviously become a safe person. For those people that think, well, I don't know anybody who's gay, or I don't know anybody who's transgender, why should I read the book? What's your response?
That's a great question. About 4 to 4.5% of the U.S. population identifies as LGBTQ from Gallup. If you assume that was true of the whole LDS Church of 16 million, that means there's over 700,000 of our own people that identify as LGBTQ or are LGBTQ. And if you put all those people in BYU football stadium, that would fill that stadium nearly 12 times with our own people, our own LGBTQ Latter-day Saints. So I share that to try to create a feeling that these people sit in our own congregations. The math of 4.5% on a congregation of 300 means there would be several LGBTQ people sitting there in our seminary classes and our Sunday school classes, and they're hearing everything that people are saying about people like them. They're often closeted and they're guarded. And if they are only hearing negative messages about people like them, then they just conclude somebody like them is not welcome here and they leave, even though they fundamentally have a testimony of the restored gospel. So we need to start talking about this as in the context there's people in our families and in our church communities that are LGBTQ. Another benefit of doing that is when I started to talk about LGBTQ as a YSA bishop, Nate, on social media, I had straight YSAs that came to me and just said, okay, I can talk to you. You're the first, I'm not gay, but I just know I can go where you need to go, where I need to go and talk to you about what's going on in my life, because I know you're a safe person. And that's what Christ did in his ministry. He just said kind things about everybody, so people knew he was safe. So I think part of being a good minister or a good parent or a good local leader is saying kind things about marginalized groups of people, because then people know you're safe for them to open up to about what's really going on in their life.
Yeah, I noticed you do that on social media quite a bit. And for the casual observer who might just stumble upon your page, it would make someone feel open and maybe contacting you. You quote or reference Russell Russell Ballard's talk, he's the president of the Quorum of the 12, for those people not familiar with the church. Pretty high up in the church, can't get much higher than that. And he spoke at BYU about this very issue. So what do you say to people that say, well, the leaders of the church, they don't care about this issue. They're not in tune with this issue. They don't care about LGBTQ members, because there is that feeling amongst a lot of people in the community that they don't care.
I think if you feel that way, that's okay to feel that way. I think some active Latter-day Saints wish we were talking about this more, and wish we are developing better skills to really minister to LGBTQ Latter-day Saints. So I think there's work to do. And the quote you reference is a great one from President Ballard at BYU. He said, we need to listen to and understand what our LGBTQ brothers and sisters are feeling and experiencing. Certainly, we must do better than we have in the past so that all members feel they have a spiritual home where their brothers and sisters love them and where they have a place to worship and serve God. So you're right, Nate, that's a powerful statement to the whole body of the church that we need to do better. And the whole premise of this book is President Ballard's charge to the church. It's sort of like taking that charge and saying, okay, how do I implement that in reality in my circle of influence, whatever that is? And that's really the purpose of the book. But we have more work to do. I look at the church's relationship with its LGBTQ members as like a 40-chapter book. And we just have more work to do to fully meet the needs of LGBTQ members.
All right. Richard Ostler, thanks so much. The name of the book, Listen, Love, and Learn. There it is. Deseret Book, Amazon, with Siegel Book and Tape. Is it still Siegel Book and Tape? Maybe they dropped the tape. I don't know. Anywhere else they can pick up your book, Richard?
Those are the big three. Those are the big three, Nate.
All right. Thanks so much. Nice chatting with you.
Good chatting with you, Nate. Thanks for all you do.